Shout out to the Cows gang. I'm your host, Mr. Palmer, and welcome to the show, Victim or Volunteer. Man, what's going on, Cows gang? You know, I just got up, man, and finally got off the couch. Had to get myself in order and like that. You already know, get fresh, so clean. You know, I got on my scrap mobile and, I was cruising down the street real slow. And wasn't they yelling, Mr. Palmer? And I went to go ahead and vote. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm glad that this is about to be over. There's been a lot of going on with this election. And I see a lot of people are crazy, screwed up, manipulated, and just dumb as And I'm gonna be doing a bunch of videos on this election. Even though by the time y'all see this, we will have a new president of the United States, or newly elected president of the United States. Now, in this episode, I gotta talk about Barack Hussein Obama II. And for those who are sitting back who don't know who that is the former president of the United States. He is an American politician who served as the 44th president from 2009 and 2017. And he's also a member of the Democratic Party. They claim him to be the first African-American president of U.S. history. He was a U.S. senator in Illinois back in 2005 to 2008. And as an Illinois state senator from 1997 to 2004. Now I'm from Chicago. So I remember when he was Illinois state senator. I remember when he became U.S. senator, because I was involved in the politics back then under the 8th Ward in the neighborhood over there on 8th Cottage Grove, where I live, where I'm from, where I stay on the couch at. Now, he was born in Hawaii, Honolulu. He graduated from Columbia University in 1983, got a Bachelor of Arts degree in political science, and later worked as a community organizer in Chicago. He went to Harvard Law School. He was a civil rights attorney and an academic teacher of the constitutional law at the University of Chicago Law School from 1992 to 2004. And he represented the 13th district in the Illinois Senate. And then I told you he ran for the U.S. Senate. The reason why I'm bringing him up today because he went viral. And some people will say he f***ed up. And when people say, well, what did he f***ed up on? Well, he f***ed up because he was out there in Pennsylvania and he was out there criticizing black men. Black men who said they weren't gonna vote at all. They're gonna sit on the couch along with Mr. Palmer like I do best. But I do that on a regular full time, you know what I'm saying? And black men who want to vote for Donald Trump. And one of the comments he said, he suggests that black men are blinded by their gender to see the value of Harris as president. You can't make this up. Then he says, black men do not understand the impact of another Trump presidency on democracy, crime, family policies, and the economy, and healthcare access. Then he also said, Trump does not respect black men and will harm black communities. Now, I gotta ask this question. Trump was president before, and I gotta ask y'all honestly, did Donald Trump fuck up the black community when he was in office as president? Was he even bothering us? But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and let Obama unravel what he had to say about black men. Let's kick it off.
I'm gonna go ahead and just speak some truths, if you don't mind. Because my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences, who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land, and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine, and making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are too high, and are committed to making sure that we maintain the Affordable Care Act, so everybody's got health care, and cares about things like education and entrepreneurship in our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person. And you're thinking about sitting out? But, you know, Cousin Pookie might be. And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that. Because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down. That's not acceptable. That's not, this shouldn't even be a question.
So you heard what he said. Now I'm be honest with you. I usually don't state my opinions, but I gotta talk about how I feel about it. Now, in my opinion on this, Barack Obama has a lot of nerve to go at black men and assume that one of the main reasons is because she's a woman or because she's not black. Now, he was the president of the United States, and I voted for him twice. The first 4 years, he didn't do shit for black people. So I said, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna vote for him again because this is his last term and he can go all out. Ain't gotta worry about him not doing nothing for us because he ain't got nothing to lose now. He ain't getting back in office. And in the last 4 years of his term, he still didn't do nothing for black people. Now, he have did things for everybody else. He have did things for General Motors. He have did things for banks. He looked out for the LGBTQ, and he looked out for everybody else except black people. And for Barack Obama to sit back and criticize black men, I believe that in this scenario, after the job he done for black people, I think he need to just shut the up, you know. Now, what I'm gonna do, because there was so many people that criticized what Obama did, but I'm gonna let Stephen A. Smith speak his piece on what Obama said and criticized the black men. Go ahead, Steve.
Even as we sit here today, as Kamala Harris is neck and neck with Donald Trump, she's getting at least 80% of the black vote, according to the polls. And if there's a question mark about her, why don't we tell the truth? It may very well have nothing to do with her, per se, but what she has inherited. You have a president in Joe Biden who has his own history. Don't get me started with the crime bill of 1994. We want to bring up Trump in the 70s and rent control and all and denying rent to black folks. We don't want to bring up Biden and how he got along with segregationists in the 70s. We don't want to bring up how Kamala Harris, then a presidential candidate in 2020, called him out for his support of segregationists when it came to busing. We want to ignore that. You don't think black people heard that? You don't think there's some trepidation in the hearts and the minds of black people from time to time? At least from the past? Not even talking about what he's done during this administration, which some people will believe his policies and his heart have been in the right place in some of their eyes. You're President Obama. How do you ignore that? Inflation, the cost of living, the price of gas, the price of groceries. That don't matter? Folks ain't paying attention to that? Immigration and our borders. And this belief that there's an elevated level of sensitivity towards them, as opposed to black folks struggling, if not starving in this country. Yes, that plays a role too. I brought it up right here on this show. When the mayor of New York was talking about $53 million in prepaid credit cards for immigrants who came across our borders illegally and having prepaid credit cards for them. And I said, wait a minute, black folks been starving for years. We ain't get that. You don't think they notice? You don't think they notice? Is it possible that the only reason some black folks, not me, but some black folks may not be inclined to vote, or they may be a bit disenchanted, or dare I say may even be willing to go as far as voting for Trump? Is it possible that it's policy as opposed to misogyny?
So I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Stephen A. Smith supporting Harris, I believe. I think he's supporting Harris. He ain't really supporting Trump. But he do understand on why black men are not voting for her. It's not about because she's a woman, because Hillary Clinton got the popular votes and many voted for Hillary Clinton. So you saying they rather vote for Clinton than Harris? And that's what he said. And it's unfortunate that, you know, when it comes to black men, we are looked at as the blame everything. You know, it's always Jermaine's fault. Shame tactics. And you think that's gonna work? Not this time. See, back in the day when everybody voted Democrat because we was told that was the best thing to do. Our parents told us this. Our grandparents told us this. But see, now you see more free thinking black men who is not going along to get along and not gonna let the blind lead the blind. And we're gonna vote and do what we feel is best for us. Now you got some simple forces and suckers that are vote because somebody says so. Still got the mentality, but it's starting to shift slowly but surely. Now even former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner argued Obama's comments was belittled to black men. And she said, why are black men being lectured to? Why are black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group? In other words, why are you only criticizing black men and not criticizing any other man that's believing that they will not vote for Harris because she's a woman? Because I'm sure some people that are not going to vote for her because she's a woman. And what he also don't understand, there are plenty of black women who are voting for Trump, who criticize Harris. But let's be real. Now, most of black people are voting for Harris. But see, Obama wants the same turnout for Harris that he had back in the day. And it's not going to happen. Now, I'm not here to tell y'all to vote for Trump. You have the right to vote. You do what you want to do. But at the same time, this man is criticizing black men and using shame tactics, trying to belittle and try to make it like it's our fault that we have a mind of our own, you know. And another thing that Nina has said, she said, unless President Barack Obama is gonna go out and lecture every other group of men from other identity groups, my message for Democrats is don't bring it here to black men. By who and large, don't vote much stiffly from black women, she said. As a politician, we should be trying to get all voters to vote. And hopefully there are a few good men out there who do care about the stripping away of some of women's bodily anatomy. Now that's one thing that they steady talk about. They made this whole election about men versus women, and that's unfortunate. But what I am going to talk about before I get my back on this couch, the last thing, Obama did an interview on Spotify with Bruce Springsteen. I'm not sure if it's Bruce Springsteen's channel or they was on somebody else's show, but he was talking to him. And Obama reveals why he didn't seek reparations for Black Americans. And I remember he was against reparations. See, he was against reparations for all you pro-blacks and everybody that feel that reparations should be given to us as Black people. He was against reparations. He looked out for everybody else under the sun except us, and he was against reparations. Now, he explained that the reason why he, why he didn't try to pursue reparations during his presidency, that white resistance and resentment, he said the backlash against affirmative action, even though affirmative action is not for Black people, it's for anybody that's not Black. And this is what he said, by quote, "All that made the prospect of actually proposing any kind of coherent, meaningful reparations program struck me as politically not only a non-starter, but potentially counterproductive, And he also said that, and this what got me, and that's when I was like, Obama. He went on to say, and he quote, "Perfectly understandable why working class white folks, middle class white folks, folks who are having trouble paying the bills or dealing with student loans wouldn't be too thrilled about the prospect of a massive program that's designed to deal with the past, but isn't speaking to their future." So when he said that, that's when I realized, oh, so you worry about what white folks say, or what middle class white folks say. And that's why you didn't want to do it, because you didn't want to stir up the pot. See, and that right there is, in my opinion, is why I feel that he shouldn't have said nothing about Black men and choosing who they want to vote for or sit out on the couch. And it's definitely unfortunate that Black men are being used as pawns and finger pointing blame, and it's always Jermaine's fault for everything under the sun. But the difference is now, a lot of Black men is not giving a So I want y'all to understand, Cows Gang, that this election has showed a lot of hands out here, good and bad. So I gotta know, Cows Gang, when it comes to Black men, are they victims or volunteer? You can't make this shit up. Like I say, man, people who sit out here talking the talk, but ain't walk the walk, and they want to blame you when they ain't do for you. That's a lot of nerve out there. Let me get my ass back on the couch and do nothing. I'm out of here. Peace. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm Mr. Palmer, and this conversation is over. Cows Gang, Cows Gang.